Good morning, everyone. We've got a cloudy day here in Savannah, but welcome anyway. We are all things Savannah, and today we are telling the stories, the histories of our terrific hostess city. We've got Katy Thomas Young with us today. And did I get your name right? I just realized it. Is it Katy Thomas Young?
It is,
Okay.
yes.
She is with Bloom Consulting, and she's a powerhouse.
She is a powerhouse. Her LinkedIn profile states rather succinctly strategist, connector, leader, entrepreneur. Those are all very strong words. Did you choose those yourself? I guess you did.
Yeah, I did. Long journey to get there. I think I'm always a person that's looking to figure out who I am and what impact I make. And so I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with any of like the personality sort of assessments, like the culture index or the DISC or the Clifton strengths or anything of that.
I'll just admit no.
Well, I'm
Right
also
here.
a very skeptical person, so I just keep taking them to see if they're all going to come back the same, and they do. So I either really am who I am, or they're all
Or they're all
talking to
wrong.
each other. Yeah.
Potentially.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Well, that's smart. That sounds
Yeah.
like a very strategic way of doing things.
So a lot of those words kind of come from that, and then also my journey in life and who I am as a person. But
As a little girl from Kentucky, right? Where were you born?
yes, I was born in Marion County, Kentucky, which is the dead heart and center of Kentucky. And I grew up on a big farm,
Did you?
375 pigs,
Wow.
50 head of cattle, tobacco, row crops, like you name it. So,
In the family for like a long time?
not really. My dad's dad had lived in the area for a long time. And my dad decided at 19 that he was going to buy this farm and start farming.
At 19.
At 19.
Wow.
And he has these amazing stories, but it was rough for a while. But he owns a construction company and has been an entrepreneur
Okay.
his whole life too, which has sown some of the seeds for me too.
Yes.
Interesting. You're a farm girl sort of transported to fast lane life because that's what marketing and advertising really is. So let's bridge all of this together. So how does that happen for you?
Right. Were you the kid who had the lemonade stand that had
Yes.
flyers and best lemonade stand on the block sort of thing?
It wasn't as cute and girly as like the lemonade stand back then because I was a farm girl. It was more of like I knew I could buy the lollipop at the convenience store for 25 cents and the kids on the bus would want it for 50 cents.
You
But
were good.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
it was a little less cute than the lemonade stand. But yeah, I think growing up my whole life I just went in and I started working early, and my dad, being on the farm and being a dad of 3 girls, had to figure out, okay, how do I let them know these life lessons that at the time I didn't understand I was learning life lessons. For example, I played soccer my whole life. So if I wanted a new bat, I would come home and I would say, Dad, I need a new bat. Everybody on the team has a new bat. I need a
Right.
new bat. And he would say, okay, well, that bat is worth about 4 additional hours on the farm this weekend of doing whatever task was. So I think it taught me very young, like, okay, anything that I want is within reach as long as I am willing to go that extra mile to figure it out and to get it. And so kind of to bridge the gap, my, story to get here is very crooked, but it's a very beautiful crooked story, and it's been very much on purpose. But it has had that has kind of been, I think, the underlying kind of staple, I guess, to it. It's
But we
just,
definitely want to hear that, and the foundation is really good. Your dad, I think, sounds like he did the right thing. This
Oh,
is what
yeah.
parents struggle with all the time.
Right.
yes.
To do the right messaging to their kids, to make them understand the value of things and to understand how to obtain things. And it sounds to me like he had a lock on that, and it really worked with you and your 2 sisters.
Yes, 2 sisters. But my dad is phenomenal. He the I guess the perfect picture of the guy that would give you the shirt off his back, but also comes home at night and says stand up when you're 7 years old and teaches you how to shake a hand and tells you to believe in yourself. Like, I could not have gotten luckier as far as that goes, but he really did great by all of us.
Well, kudos to him.
Right. So sports, that's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Competitive element there, right? Of course. And so how was school for you, and what was your next step into university, or what was your plan?
So sports actually took me to university. So I played 4 years of collegiate soccer.
Wow.
So I am very competitive.
Wow, sounds like it.
But in addition to the competition, I think what it really taught you is the value of communication, because when you play like a team sport, it's not solo of like,
That's right.
you can be as good or as bad as humanly possible, but the team is either going to win or not win with or without you. So there's a lot of value in just the connectivity of that is what I think. But so I went to Louisville, and I always say I grew up again in Louisville. So I grew up the first years in Marion County, farm girl, moved to the big city of Louisville, moved straight into downtown. So
How old were you?
17.
Wow.
17.
That's a
and
change,
it was a
isn't it?
change.
Yeah.
It was a change. So I went from seeing like nothing but grass to nothing but concrete.
Right.
And I got my master's in Louisville, stayed in Louisville for a while, and yeah, that's where I grew up again. From 17 to 30, I think I probably grew up the most in Louisville. But
So what directs you toward your career? There had to be something that you either saw, experienced, or were thinking about that got you to say, wow, marketing is all around maybe. Marketing is so important. Marketing is where I want to be. I have a natural ability. I'm going to let you answer the question and not fill in any more answers.
yeah, no, I wish I had like that straightforward answer of like, I knew I wanted to be in marketing. I went to school for marketing. I came out, but that was not my story. I went to school for healthcare. I have my original master's as an OT, so an occupational therapist.
Oh, wow.
I minored in psychology.
Oh, wow.
So
That'd come in handy.
It comes in very handy.
Yeah.
And you know, I think the weird thing about the world is at 17 and 18 we're supposed to know what we want to do. And then we go to college and we get out of school and we think, I went to school for this, I have to do it. And I think for me, I was like always encouraged to believe in myself, and if I felt something and if I saw something, if I was 100% on it, to explore it. So as I got out into the real world, and I was a practicing occupational therapist at University of Cincinnati and various places, I was working a lot with medical sales reps in the durable medical equipment complex rehab space, where I just saw a need. I could speak this language. I understood the patient. They could speak business. So when I wanted to collaborate, there was a disconnect. So I thought, I'm going to go call the owner of this company and see if they hire therapists in medical sales positions, because there's a need here. Like, there's a language barrier that we don't all speak, and it's actually doing a disservice to the person we're serving. So at the time, I'm not realizing that I'm kind of starting down the path of marketing here. I'm recognizing a need. I'm looking at the person that I'm serving. I'm figuring out, how do we do this better?
Right.
And so, long story short, they hired me for like half the price that they would hire anyone else. And I ended as the top salesperson in their company within 2 years. So it was, but it was through market development, right? It was through serving and through the servant leadership and really understanding who I was serving. So as this kind of progressed, I ended up in corporate America in like a very nice position, and COVID hit. My position was fine. I actually had the most comfortable position I've ever had. And I saw all these small businesses like close their door. And what I was doing at the time was like looking at a market and figuring out, how do we integrate this market? how do we show up? How do we educate, train, become the experts, be seen? And when everyone else started shutting their doors, I thought, if they only knew a pivot strategy, right? If they only understood that they could look at their market differently, maybe they could keep their doors open.
Yeah, things have changed.
Things
they
have
need
changed.
to change.
Yes,
with it,
yeah,
right?
we have to pivot. We have to relearn, right? So I decided to open an LLC, and it became a business a lot faster than I had originally anticipated, and that's kind of the path that really got me here. So I ended up going back and going, I need probably to slap a stamp on this so I'm valid in the marketing space. So hence go back, get all the trainings and the certifications that you need here as well. But most of my marketing learning early was through actual doing.
Right.
Right?
It's on the job training, really.
It
right?
was. It was sink or swim moments that made me realize this is how you do this. This is the best way. And so it happened year after year after year, and I became like, I was winning award after award after award here, and I just thought, this is so transferable
Yes.
to so many other businesses. And so that's
Which is surprising because you wouldn't think that occupational therapy, I mean, that's such a niche. It's a big niche, but it's still, there's not a jumping off point, a natural jumping off point that you would think would be available to you. But you didn't say die. I liked that. I think that's really interesting that you didn't say, my training's not in marketing, so I won't do it.
Yeah, no. And I think I'll say this. I value so much being a leader for women. And I sat when in my position in corporate America, when I was sitting there, I was not surrounded by women. There were maybe 6 in the whole company from our position wise, coast to coast. We were national. And I just remember, and I come from this small town where everyone is one of 4 career paths. So I have this passion to kind of just push hold my hand out and say all right, come on, I can show you if you're willing to come this way. And one of the things that I get so often is well, people feel stuck in whatever decision that, like I said, they may have made at 17 or 18 to go into a certain career path. But I was never encouraged to do that. Like I said, I think my family was always hey, if you're going to go for it, if you're betting on anyone in this world, you better be betting on yourself.
Again, another fabulous lesson, life lesson.
Yeah.
Really good life lessons. We want to remind everybody you are watching All Things Savannah. We're coming to you from the Twin Spades Lounge in the beautiful Bluff Hotel, 630 West Bay Street, historic district downtown Savannah. We're having a chat today with Katy Thomas Young. She is the CEO of Bloom Consulting, and kind of taking a deep dive into her past. in a way that helps us understand how she got where she is today, because she is an amazing person, and I think Danielle and I both felt that the first time we met her, which was some months back. Capable, can do, and now we're beginning to find out how that all got started, right?
Right. So I'm thinking about your dad now. This is a little bit maybe off topic, but so he has another business, or is he still farming? Because he set the tone for you, obviously.
100%, yes.
And he's not just a farmer, clearly.
No.
He is.
Which would be enough anyway.
Which
Farming
would be
is not an
plenty.
easy profession either.
Correct,
Right.
yeah. No, my dad owns a construction company, and also kind of a similar path. I think he realized that he could do that for somebody else his whole life, or he could bet on himself. And he has done an incredible job. He comes from a very underprivileged background, and I just think I might get emotional talking about my father.
That's quite all right, because that's a good part of our lives. Our parents, the people who raised us, and that type of thing. And I think I read that. Did he drive? Did I read this thing that he drove to be in your office here in Savannah when you
Yes.
got here? Tell me about that.
So my dad, the funniest thing is he runs a very successful business and does not ever open an email. So we laugh about this a lot, because in today's world, you're like, how could
is that
that even be
possible? Right.
possible?
Right.
And so the same thing is true for, he will not get on an airplane. So I could live in Alaska and he would row his boat to come see me before he would get on an airplane to come to come visit. So he did. He drove from Kentucky, which was about 10 and a half hours down here whenever we got our office space. And
That is terrific.
he's just,
There's a picture of you guys together, which is really
Yes,
neat.
yeah.
Saw that on the internet. Really
yeah.
cute. It's really nice. I
Thank
just
you.
think you guys are obviously very tight. We first, I think, read a little bit about you when you were named Branding CEO, I think is the title. Is it Branding CEO in the state of Georgia
In the
for
state of
2023,
Georgia.
right?
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
yeah, thank
Bravo
you.
to Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, we did win that. We just got recognized as the top 10 marketing consulting firms across the country too for up and coming. But I think it's our process. You know, we have a pretty well-defined 10-step process on our, you can go in and kind of see it. But every time we talk, every time we get interviewed or get recognized for anything, I have questions too, because it's almost, when you're in it every day and you know the vision of where you're going, it feels almost kind of, it's just interesting to be recognized along the way. And sometimes it can go, really, why right now? And that maybe is a weird thing to say when you get recognized for something, but I'm always curious what made them choose us as well.
Good point.
And, there's a lot that goes into those things, as in like the finances in the background, like they have to do their due diligence. But in the initial research and the initial things, it's like, well, why are you putting us in the running? And we just get constantly, it's like the process that you take is unique. The process that you take is unique.
Oh.
And so that may be in part because my background didn't come straight ad agency.
That's a good point. This is such a nebulous process from my perspective, maybe Danielle's too. We've talked about this because, let's face it, if you have a business, which we do, marketing is important, advertising is important, sponsorship is important, hint, hint. Did I say that? I did say that. How do you explain this process? Because it seems like it's cloaked in all kinds of, and it not only is it cloaked in what seems like not intended secrecy, but it's just mystifying to some people, but it's changing almost continually, almost by the day.
Yeah.
How do you handle that, and how do you explain what you do to people?
Yeah, that's a big question. There's a lot there. One, I think every industry changes every day, right? I think everything is constantly, like, if you're not keeping up and you're not learning about what's in front of you today, you're dying with yesterday. So I think that everybody's should always be looking to change and evolve and stay on top of that. But I think, the misconception in marketing, oftentimes, I always find there's two. One, people either think of marketing as like, you're going to make a pretty picture and it's going to win the hearts of the world with that pretty picture. And that's all we need. And then the second one is always, and there's a silver bullet, and as soon as I walk in your door, it's going to happen tomorrow. Right? And so I think the two big things about the industry and how to explain really what we do is marketing is 90% data, research, psychology, like the science.
Yeah.
And then you get the 10% that's like the icing on the cake,
Is
right?
that the feel-good part? Is that the...
You have to have the creative minds are like obviously the heartbeat of what brings the whole vision together. So maybe I shouldn't say 10%, but what has to happen first is all of the research, right? All the understanding of who you serve, who is your audience, and the lens in which you look at that through. And I think that really yes, things change, trends come up, but there are things that will always stay the same, and that's a framework on which you can build on, right? Like there's multiple new hot things that are going to always hit the market, new trends, new ways to get your name out there. But at the end of the day, the thing we have to do first is figure out what message are you getting out there? Who are you getting it out there to? How are you serving them? How are you benefiting them? Because the consumer today, if you're going at them just saying, I need you to do for me,
Not going to work.
it's never going to work.
And that's what struck me when we met together, that I went in there thinking you were going to answer our questions, and you kept asking us questions.
She did. Yeah, she sure
Asking
did.
us
Yeah.
to answer our own questions.
Right.
which had to do with the data, obviously. So I was really struck by that, and it did make me think. It made me think of all these things, all these topics, and how were we going to solve these problems ourselves, so you could help us focus in and drive down to the best answers that we could, come up with, and the best solutions that we could come up with.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's part of, our tagline is push beyond the obvious. And we always say, like, our culture is like, dig deep, dig deeper. Like, what's next? And we are the firm. Like, we're going to challenge you. We're going to challenge beliefs that you bring to us. We're going to be curious. We're going to ask you why. We're going to ask you to show us that truth. And because a lot of times what we uncover that sets people apart is lying just literally right below that layer. And when you can break through it and you can understand really the root of a lot of things, then you can treat the root and not the symptoms, right?
Yes.
And so you're actually just gonna, that's where the magic happens. So.
And you obviously are very good at doing that. You're
Well, thank you. I hope.
yeah, exactly.
Seems like it. Seems like you got it.
When you win awards, someone's telling you that you're very good at what
Yes.
you do. So
Thank you.
I think that's really exciting, though.
Thank you.
That's a very cool thing, and I love the fact that it was because of, and maybe even in spite of your background, that you have landed where you are, thinking you were going on a medical path, and boom, here you are. But I think it too has to do with the fact that you believed in what you were doing.
Yeah, and you see opportunities for pivot, and that's important, right? Like, when you're in a situation, really what it was is I saw an opportunity in a market, and I leaned into that. And then I got here, and I saw another opportunity in a market, and I leaned into that.
Right.
And that brought me here. And I hope I continue to find opportunities in markets and continue to lean in, and I hope I help other people do that as well with their business, because
There you go.
it's the importance of the pivot sometimes that saves us.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. You have to know when to turn.
You have
So
to
I
know.
think that many people look at marketing and say, oh, someone's just trying to sell me something. It's just a slick way of selling me something. But your perspective on how can I help people pivot, how can I help people survive this issue, this downturn, this whatever it happens to be, to survive, to keep going, to do something different, to bring their product, whatever it happens to be. And you did that with occupational therapy. You're looking at product that would be better promoted and cared for to what? To help the business? No, to help people.
To help people.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, when you can find impact and you can deliver impact, the sale will come. But when you chase the sale,
Yeah.
You are watching All Things Savannah. We are coming to you from the Twin Spades Lounge, Bluff Hotel, 630 West Bay Street, Historic District, downtown Savannah. This is where we record the show every Wednesday. Danielle Ope, Frank Morrow. We're with Katy Thomas Young, CEO, Bloom Consulting. We're talking about marketing, advertising, and her path to Savannah, which brings me to my next question. You found your way here. We've alluded to the fact. We know you've gotten here. What do you think about Savannah? Why Savannah? How did you get to here?
well, I love Savannah, first of all, and it's a lot different than I originally pictured it in my head.
Oh, really?
And I don't know if you guys know, I pretty much moved to Savannah almost sight unseen.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I don't think we knew
No,
that.
I didn't know that.
So, as we've kind of been talking about, I'm constantly looking for ways to become a better version of what we have. And as I've said before, I'm also all in on this business, right? It's I'm all in here. And so as I sat down and I started to think about, okay, what's the best thing for my clients? What's the best thing for my business? And thinking about all the background and everything I have, I said, I have to have the best people. The best people will serve the clients the best, they'll do the best. And where are the best creative minds in the country? They're in Savannah. So I decided to come to Savannah to kind of like flood myself and inundate myself in a community amongst some of the most brilliant minds in the creative space. People travel all over this country to come here to fine tune their skills in that space. And I wanted to be around it. I want to build relationships with it. I'm curious. I want to hear those conversations. I want to see that art come to life. So that's what brought me to Savannah.
Oh, that's so
And
interesting.
that is something that we have heard before, truth be told. It's interesting, though. It's a destination, not a stop along the way. We feel that way. We feel
Yep.
like we have
Absolutely.
come to the place that we belong, and that we're tapping the community for conversations like this one.
Yeah.
What is special to you? What, in addition to some of the creativity, are there other parts of Savannah that really resonate with you?
Yes, this feels like home to me, right? Life goes sometimes full circle and you don't realize that it's happening. So I came to Savannah with the mindset of I'm doing this for a business reason and I'm going to another city. Like I said, I didn't really know a lot about the culture of Savannah. And then I got into Savannah and like day one of meeting my neighbors, they're like, all right, well, you're coming over for Thanksgiving dinner. You're coming over for this. You're coming, and I'm like,
Right.
what? This is awesome, you know. And so it has this like super small town feel, and I hadn't felt that a lot in Louisville as much as I felt it in my hometown. Everyone was such a community, and it was everybody knew everyone. You weren't getting away with anything. You were, you know, all of the things. And then you go to Louisville, and it feels a little bigger. And coming here, I've been here for a year in February. And it feels like a community. It feels like I could be broke down on the side of the road and someone's going to stop and help me. And so the people and the mindset here, it's beautiful, I think.
Yeah, well, we couldn't agree more.
Yes, we couldn't agree more. So what's holding 2024 for you?
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't have a crystal ball, but in your profession, I would think you're checking out the horizon to see sort of what's coming up. What do you think?
Yeah, we're looking to grow, right? So our business is growing. We actually added 5 people to our team in the last quarter.
Oh my gosh.
That is a lot given the size of the company, right?
Yeah, so well, we have team in Louisville still, and then we have a few
Okay.
in the Carolinas, and then we're building, you know, here in Savannah. So in 2024, what we're really trying to figure out is our place here. How do we serve Savannah? What's the impact that I can bring to Savannah, whether that be through mentorship of other females that are looking to grow into any sort of space.
Very important.
So important.
Yeah.
And you know, I think there's so many groups that do beautiful things for women in regards of like being centered and mindset and all those things. But you look left and you look right and like, where are the women that teach you how to read a P&L? Where are the women that teach you how to secure capital? And so I think that might be my 2024 impact.
Ooh, that sounds
And
great.
I think I would love to just like dive deep into the female culture in Savannah outside of business too, and see like what's there. Can we like
Yeah.
kind of bring that together?
That has got to give you a good feeling at the end of the day to know that you had that kind of an impact. You know, literally sort of on the ground helping women become successful business people, entrepreneurs, creators.
And at the end of the day, they like impact me just as much though.
Yeah.
Everybody
Comes
brings
around.
impact. Everybody brings impact. Whether you're at like, I might teach you how to read a P&L, but you're going to teach me something in return that I don't understand at this point in time either. So it's, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Katy.
Thank you for having me.
glad you came by.
Terrific.
Yes.
Yes.
We know we're going to hear more from you, and
I hope.
we have a feeling you're going to hear more from us.
We're going to get you those sponsorships.
We will
You're
work on
speaking
it.
to my heart right now, I'll tell you that, Katy. Well, thank you for taking the time. It was
Yes,
great to
thanks
see
for
you.
your
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. You guys are great.
We also want to thank the tech team again, Talia
Absolutely.
Bonilla, Maria Oliver, Riley Sandifer. They have done more behind the scenes today than you'll realize on the front of this program, so we
Well,
thank
actually,
them.
no, maybe you will realize, because if you hear us clearly without
Right.
any interference, we can thank these women
It's true.
for helping us out this morning and doing such a
Absolutely.
stellar job.
Absolutely. And we will be back next edition with another sort of deep dive into the culture, the history, the people of Savannah, Georgia, on all things Savannah.
Yes, let's do this again.
Let's do that.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.